Love this talk that Steve Harvey gave where he says, used to be the class clown. I used to constantly make jokes in class and I would get in trouble all the time. And the thing is, I didn't realize until I grew up that that was a skill that I had. That skill that I was getting punished for all the time in school was a skill because a lot of people aren't able to see a situation and find and make a joke out of it very quickly. The ability to be funny, if you're funny, that is a skill not a lot of people have. But the thing is, you might just be in a setting where that's not appreciated. You might be in a setting where that's actually considered wrong or stupid. So if you're really funny in a comedy club, you're the best. You're amazing. In a classroom, if you're a funny guy, you're constantly getting into trouble. You're a disruption. You're the kid who can't take life seriously. And you have a lot of talent. You might just be in a setting where it's being called bad, but if it was in this setting, it would be called good. Mind-blowing because you have all these talents that you don't realize are talents. That kid, Steve Harvey, was a class clown, but he never thought, oh wow, I have a really strong ability and a skill to be funny that a lot of people don't. That is a skill. These little things, these little quirks about yourself, you think everyone else is seeing that situation as funny. He probably thought, oh, everyone else found the joke in that situation. I'm just the one who said it out loud. You don't think that you're special up here. You don't think that you're unique up here. And you forget to realize that you have all these skills that are just so normal for you because you are already living in your head. Like, right? It's normal for you to see all these things that you're just like, yeah, no, I'm nothing special. All these thoughts that I'm having, everyone else is having them too. It's nothing special. But you grow up and realize that no, not everyone is having those thoughts. You have skills and you just don't know it, or you're just in the wrong setting. So just write down the things that you think you're just naturally good at, and maybe you're just in the wrong setting. Maybe there just isn't a name for it yet. My mom is an engineer and she will, whatever, we'll be in a traffic jam, we'll be going over a bridge, and she'll say, you know, it would be so much better if they put this road this way and did this and they designed the bridge this way. She is seeing the world through a different lens, and I'm just like, oh wow, mom, that's so cool. I never thought about it like that. But she's in her head so much that she just assumes, oh yeah, anytime anyone is going over this bridge, they probably think the same thing. And I'm like, no mom, that's a skill. Your engineering brain, the fact that you look at a road and you see something that other people don't see, that is a skill. And she just doesn't think it's a skill because she's so used to that voice in her head that she doesn't think she has anything special to offer. And it's kind of the same thing with me with my vlogs. I always would give this advice to friends, and then I started having, and I just assumed this was common sense. Like, I just thought that this was, you know, brunch conversation. And then I started having friends say, hey, you should really write a book. Or I had friends who'd say, oh gosh, like, can I record you before you talk? And I'd be like, you want to record me? And they'd be like, yeah, like, this is really, really good advice, and I just need to listen to it for a few more times. And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And I didn't realize what I'm saying is anything special. But then I would talk like this to friends and they would say, oh, like, wait, I need to write this down. You give really good advice, all this stuff. And I'm just like, I didn't know that I gave good advice. I just thought everyone else knew this stuff and we're just talking about it, or I'm just helping out a friend and, you know, trying to give some advice and see how I can help out. But they were like, oh my God, I love this advice. It blew my mind. And same thing, I always used to, whenever I'm walking in the street, I am redesigning people's outfits. When I go to the gym, I look at people and have an idea of how I would change that outfit to make it better. I go to a coffee shop and I see 500 things that can make this coffee shop better at marketing. I see 500 different ways that their menu could be better. I just assume that everyone else has these thoughts, but I don't realize that this is a skill that I have a natural step up. Other people are at level 0. Because of my natural talents, I'm at level 5. And because I'm already at level 5 and this is a natural skill, it'd be even easier for me to get to level 10. When I was little, every time I would listen to music, even now, I start picturing music videos in my head every time I listen to a song. And I used to talk to friends and be like, oh my God, I feel like this song would make such a good music video if they did this and did this. And my friends would say, oh wow, that's a really good idea. And I found out from talking to friends, some friends really listen to the beat of a song and they noticed that. Some friends really noticed the lyrics. I never really noticed the beat when I listened to music. You're so used to seeing through that lens, listening through that lens, that you don't think you have a skill. You just assume everyone else sees that. If you're really good at recognizing the beats in a song, that's a skill. I can't do that. I can make a music video out of it, but I can't do that. I could probably work really, really hard to get there, but that's not something that's just naturally going through my head. For a lot of people, that is, and you don't realize that you have a leg up when it comes to that, and you should fine tune that and invest in that, and it will be so, so easy for you because your ear is just more naturally tuned to it than other people's ears. I'm more naturally tuned to directing a music video than other people are. You don't think that it's special. You just think that it's normal or everyone else could do that, and you just don't know. And it's crazy because you have so many skills, you have so many things you're naturally good at. That's why you have to follow the path of easy. That's why when you do things that feel like it's the easiest thing in the world, that's how you know you're on the right path. You know that quote, they say your work is placed in your heart. What you love, what comes naturally to you, is where you're supposed to go. And there's a lot of people who don't think that they can make money off of it. But the thing is, if you do what you love, if you do what's so natural for you, think about what you used to do when you were 10, 12 years old, before you started having crushes on boys and girls. What did you used to love to play with? Brian Tracy, one of these motivational speakers, he said, I gave a talk on secrets of millionaires, and he said some guy came up to him at the end of the talk and he said, it's funny what you said about picking the thing that you loved when you were 10, 12 years old, because my whole life, all I've done is play with planes. I have like a multi-million-dollar business, but my whole life, I just feel like I've played with planes. That's how you're supposed to design your life. It really is supposed to be like playing. If you loved dressing up your Barbie dolls when you were little, you grow up and now you just dress up bigger dolls or humans or mannequins. That's how that's supposed to work. But we kind of get talked into this idea of, oh, I would never be able to make money in that. Oh, I'm not good at that. But the thing is, what is fun for you will make you money. What you love will make you money, because every time you reach an obstacle, it'll be really, really interesting. For me, it was a pain to learn about neuroanatomy, but I would love to learn about different fabrics and how they lay on the body and why this one is better with this. Like, that would be really fun information. School would have been so fun for me if I studied fashion, but I studied neuroscience because that felt responsible. That felt like it made sense. That was what got me approval from my family, and school became hard. No one told me that school was supposed to be fun. No one told me that school was supposed to be easy, because no one ever talks like that, right? Everyone always says, yeah, school is supposed to be hard. If it's hard, you're doing something wrong. Watch my video on stop doing hard things. If it's hard, you're doing something wrong. So many of us have this idea of discipline, of forcing ourselves to do things. You guys, you know the creator of Rolls-Royce, like the Rolls-Royce car, Henry Royce, when trying to design the car, creating the engine, he used to sleep in the office in the car shop. They actually had to hire a boy to follow him around with milk and bread because he was suffering from malnutrition. Like, this guy loved what he did so much that he didn't care about food. He didn't care about having a comfortable place to sleep. You need to think about that. Like, for partying, you're on vacation, you need less sleep than you usually do. You just want to eat food so you can go back to playing, you know? Think about when you were a little kid. Oh God, I want to get back to doing the fun thing. Okay, fine. Eat really quick, sleep really quick, and then go back to doing the fun thing. That's what our life is supposed to feel like. And you know what I mean, where you're so in flow. People who like love wood shop, you're creating something, you're building something, it's been 8 hours and you haven't noticed you haven't eaten anything. I'd really encourage you guys to read the book Flow. I've heard that's really good. But finding things where you just kind of enter this state of flow, where it doesn't feel like time exists, food doesn't exist, sleep doesn't exist, because you're so into what you're doing. If you're doing something where you feel like you're dragging yourself through it, it's probably not your thing, and you should not invest more time in it. It's not your vibe. Don't do it. The thing where time just stops, you don't care about anything except this because you're so into it, you want to make it feel so perfect, you want it to be so fun. That is where you should put more of your energy. You know how I say life is just a giant game of hot and cold? That feels hot, so lean into it. That feels good. Move towards what feels good. Move towards what feels like flow. For a lot of us, you have to feel around. You have to try different things and then sink into what feels good. And then if you are into that for 2-3 months and then suddenly it doesn't feel so fun, great. Move to the next one. When you find that sweet spot of what you love, it's probably what you loved to do when you were like 10, 12 years old, before you started having crushes and you started caring what people thought of you. You were just this kid having fun and what it is you love to do. That's a good place to start. Think back to that. That's where you should kind of start exploring and saying, okay, that's probably what I should be doing with my life. The kid who loved to memorize all the dinosaur names and thought dinosaurs were the most interesting thing in the world, he can pursue that as a career and then bring in a few skills to make sure that he can monetize that career. Skills that are fun for him to do. It's just so important to kind of look back and think, what did I really, really enjoy? There's a lot of people who are so burnt out from life, who are so used to pleasing everyone else and feeding their ego rather than feeding themselves, that you don't even know what's fun for you anymore except drinking and partying, because that makes you feel like you have a vacation from your miserable life. Create a life that you don't need a vacation from. Create a life that feels like a vacation, because it's so fun and it's so awesome, and you would do it even if no one ever paid you to do it. No one ever paid me to perfect my Barbie's outfits. I wanted to do that because I wanted to make sure my Barbie looked the best. You just need to figure out how to make money off of that. And when I was little, I didn't know there was jobs like stylist. I didn't really think about fashion designer because I was from my parents being driven into science and medical school. I never used to play with lab instruments. They'd give me lab kits. They'd get me skeletons. I wanted to play with my Barbies. And that feels like it should have been so obvious, but for a lot of us, it's not. A lot of us, we're just lost when it comes to what we really like. We don't pick up on these little clues, but the clues are always there. You just have to turn your brain on and start looking for them. But when I look backwards, it's so obvious that I don't like neuroscience, and I just never noticed because life was too busy. Things were going too fast. I had to get those good grades. I had to make sure my parents were happy. I had to make sure everyone else was happy, even if I was unhappy. And you get so caught up in that grind that you forget you get one life and you are going to die alone. You are going to die alone, and you make that journey to death alone. So this life, you should live it as if it's just you here and no one else is allowed to comment. You're not allowed to take in anyone else's judgments, because believe me, everyone will have judgments, everyone will have opinions on what you're doing, but tune them out, because they're not going to be there at the end. So they don't get to be there at the beginning or in the middle. That is all you. It should be all you up here. And when you start living like that, when you start trusting yourself instead of trusting everyone else, your life will get so much better. Just, you're little and you just assume everyone's smarter than you. You're like, okay, my parents know what's better for me than I do. Everyone in this world, my professors, my counselors, everyone is smarter than I am. They're not. The person who is best equipped to make decisions for you is you, because you're the only person who knows what's up here 360. You know every single thing, every single thought. When you're going through life and you see all these things, whatever, knew that everyone else doesn't see music videos in their head when they listen to songs. I just assumed everyone was doing that, and I didn't have a special skill. So you just have to look for the clues. Turn your brain on and say, okay, I'm just looking for what I naturally see when I look at the world. I'm just looking for, what did I love to do at 10, 12 years old? Some of us, even at 10, 12 years old, if you grew up in a really rough family environment, even then you were just trying to survive and make it through your day, that even then maybe you didn't get a lot of chances to explore yourself and say, hey, what feels fun? That's okay. Now take that time as an adult. You owe that to yourself, because it's just going to be you when you die. So it should just be you in this life, as if no one is watching. Live as if no one is watching. Live as if no one's judgments matter, because in the end, they're not going to matter. And the whole time you'll realize, when you do come to the end of your life, no one was thinking about you in the first place. They're all so concerned with themselves. Everyone is so obsessed with how they come off, that if they do think about you, if they do have a judgment to give to you, they'll give you about 20 seconds of their time to leave a mean comment or say, oh God, that person looks stupid. And then they'll go back to obsessing about their own lives. I love this quote. You would be insulted if you found out how little someone thinks of you. All these people that you think are, thinking of you, judging your outfits, judging what you're posting on social media. If you really went into their minds, you would be insulted if you found out that they barely think of you. That's how much they think of you. Barely. And when you realize that, you just start doing whatever you want, That's it. And maybe there are people who are obsessed with you. There are people who are obsessed with stalking you and making fun of you. And if they want to make that their job, let them. That's fine. They're not going to be there at the end. It's just going to be you at the end. So make sure you live like that, okay? Oh, discover yourself. You're just surviving. I get it. Try to take out time to just figure out what's fun. And you don't even have to set aside time to figure it out. You just kind of have to start paying attention to all these thoughts that go through your head and think, I wonder if other people think like that. If they do, that's fine. Mine will be a little different. But whatever skill you have, yours is a little more fine-tuned to something. And even if that's the case, voice your opinion, because you don't know. There's a million people giving advice on YouTube, and I constantly had friends telling me that they want to record my advice, or they would say, hold on, let me get a pen and paper when you give advice. And I was like, do I really have anything special to say that isn't already on YouTube? And they would say, yeah, no, I feel like you're giving really valuable information. And, sometimes you just need a good friend to tell you, yeah, your voice is important. Yeah, the way you see things is important. It is special. So just believe in yourself. I love you.